Your liver's second chance. A doctor's guide to reversing fatty liver. After 60, hello, health champions. I'm Dr. Daniel Foster, and for over 3 decades, I've had the privilege of sitting with thousands of seniors right here in communities from sunny San Diego to the peaceful suburbs of Chicago. We've talked about everything from grandkids to golf swings, but more often than not, our conversations turn to the quiet health concerns that creep up as we age. One of the most common and most misunderstood is the health of our liver. What if I told you that one of the most significant health risks for Americans over 60, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, is often built on a foundation of well-intentioned but fundamentally flawed advice? We're told to fear salt, to shun red meat, and to load up on heart-healthy whole grains. Yet, I see more and more patients in their golden years struggling with fatigue, mysterious weight gain, and poor metabolic health, all pointing back to a liver that is silently crying out for help. Your liver is the unsung hero of your body, a tireless worker performing over 500 critical functions without a single complaint. It's your master detoxifier, your metabolic powerhouse, and your internal chemical plant. But when we overwhelm it, it begins to store fat. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's the first step on a dangerous path toward inflammation, cirrhosis, and eventually liver failure. The frustrating part is that most of you are trying to do the right thing. You're reading labels, following popular advice, and still not seeing the results you deserve. You're confused by the endless contradictory information online. That confusion ends today. In this discussion, we're going to cut through the noise. We will dismantle the common myths that are holding your health hostage and reveal the true culprits behind a fatty liver. More importantly, I'll lay out a clear, simple path, not just to protect your liver, but to help it heal and regenerate, so you can enjoy the vibrant, energetic life you've worked so hard to build. Part 1. Identifying the real saboteurs of your liver. Health. For years, the conversation around liver health was dominated by a single villain: alcohol. While excessive alcohol consumption is undeniably destructive to the liver, a new epidemic has emerged, one that has nothing to do with a cocktail glass. It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, and its roots are firmly planted in the modern American diet. The problem is, the dietary advice we've been given to combat it is often misguided, focusing on the wrong suspects while the real criminals run free. Let's start with a common piece of advice: avoid sodium. You'll see this on nearly every health blog and in every magazine. The reasoning is that sodium causes water retention. This is true in a sense. Water does follow salt. However, this is only a problem for individuals whose bodies cannot properly regulate sodium, people with specific kidney failure, certain endocrine tumors, or other serious hormonal issues. For the average healthy adult, the body's systems are brilliantly designed to manage sodium balance. A healthy body knows exactly what to do with it. Blaming sodium for a fatty liver is like blaming the rain for a leaky roof. The problem isn't the water, it's the compromised structure. Sodium has virtually nothing to do with the accumulation of fat in your liver. Next up is the most vilified food on the steakhouse menu: red meat. We're told to avoid it because it's high in saturated fat. This has been the prevailing dogma for half a century, but this is where we must challenge a fundamental misunderstanding of how our bodies work. Many people believe in the simple yet incorrect idea that you are what you eat in the most literal sense. They think eating fat directly translates to storing that same fat. To understand why this is wrong, let's consider a cow. A cow's meat is rich in saturated fat. But what does a cow eat? It eats grass, which contains virtually no saturated fat. So, how does the saturated fat get there? The cow's body performs a miraculous process called biotransformation. It takes the fuel it consumes, grass, and converts it into the substances it needs, including saturated fat for energy storage. Your body does the exact same thing. The saturated fat stored in your liver doesn't primarily come from the saturated fat in your diet, like the butter on your toast or the steak on your plate. It comes from an excess of fuel, accompanied by a hormonal signal to store it. So, who are the real saboteurs? The substances that overwhelm the liver because only the liver can process them. When a substance can be used by every cell in your body for energy, it's much less likely to create a bottleneck. But when a substance has to be processed exclusively by the liver, it's like forcing all the traffic in a major city through a single side street. congestion is inevitable. The first and most well-known of these substances is, of course, alcohol. But the second and far more insidious culprit in the modern diet is fructose. The white table sugar we all know, sucrose, is composed of two smaller sugars, one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. While glucose can be used by nearly every cell in your body, fructose must be processed almost entirely by the liver. When you consume sugar, you are sending a flood of fructose directly to an organ that is not equipped to handle it in large quantities. The average American consumes a staggering amount of sugar each day, meaning they're also consuming a huge dose of fructose. The liver, in its wisdom, does the only thing it can with this overwhelming influx. It converts the fructose into fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. This is the primary mechanism behind non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It doesn't matter if the fructose comes from a can of soda, a candy bar, or healthy, natural sources like agave nectar, or even large quantities of high-sugar fruits like mangoes, bananas, and pineapples. The liver doesn't distinguish between added sugar and natural sugar. It only sees a molecule of fructose that it is forced to deal with. A few berries are perfectly fine, but believing that you can consume unlimited fruit without consequence is a dangerous mistake. You can easily consume 100 or 200 grams of sugar just from fruit in a day, leading to a massive fructose load on your liver. If you found this first section helpful in clarifying these common misconceptions, please take a moment and type the number 1 in the comments below. If it wasn't clear or you feel it missed the mark, please type the 0. Your feedback is invaluable as I strive to make this information as useful as possible for you. Part 2. The insulin connection and the deception of healthy. Starches. We've identified fructose as a primary driver of fat accumulation in the liver. But there's another major player that, while not necessarily causing the fatty liver on its own, acts as an accelerant, making the problem exponentially worse and preventing any hope of recovery. That player is the hormone insulin. Think of insulin as the body's master storage hormone. Its primary job is to take excess fuel from the bloodstream and shuttle it into cells for storage. When you eat carbohydrates, sugars, and starches, they are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas then releases insulin to manage this blood glucose. This is a normal, healthy process. However, in our modern world, we are eating in a way that keeps our insulin levels chronically elevated. When your liver is already congested with fat from processing excess fructose and alcohol, it starts to become insulin resistant. This means the liver cells begin to ignore insulin's signal. The pancreas, sensing this resistance, compensates by pumping out even more insulin to try and get the job done. This creates a vicious cycle. The fatty liver causes insulin resistance, and the resulting high insulin levels prevent the liver from burning its stored fat. Insulin is essentially a one-way street. When it's high, fat storage is turned on, and fat burning is turned off. You cannot heal a fatty liver if your insulin levels remain high. This brings us to the next great dietary deception: starches, including the so-called healthy ones. We are constantly told to eat whole grains, brown rice, and oatmeal. We're led to believe these foods are pillars of a healthy diet. But what is a starch? It's simply a long chain of glucose molecules. Whether it's from a slice of whole wheat bread, a bowl of brown rice, or a potato, your digestive system breaks it down into pure glucose. This glucose floods your bloodstream and triggers a significant insulin response. For a person who is metabolically healthy and insulin sensitive, the body can handle a moderate amount of starch. But for someone who is already on the path to, or in the throes of, fatty liver disease, their insulin is already too high. Eating these starches is like pouring gasoline on a fire. It keeps insulin elevated, locking the fat inside the liver and perpetuating the cycle of insulin resistance. The marginal difference in fiber between white rice and brown rice, or white bread and whole wheat bread, is trivial in the face of the massive glucose load they both deliver. Making matters even worse are the ubiquitous fried foods. Most people assume they are bad because they are high in calories and fat. While they are calorie-dense, the real danger lies in the type of oil they are fried in. Virtually all commercially fried foods, from French fries at a fast food restaurant in Miami to the donuts at your local coffee shop in Seattle, are cooked in highly processed vegetable and seed oils: corn, soy, canola, safflower, and so on. These are polyunsaturated fats, which are chemically very unstable and sensitive to heat. In their natural state, they would go rancid quickly. To make them shelf-stable and suitable for high heat frying, they undergo an intense industrial process of refining, bleaching, and deodorizing. This process oxidizes the oils, creating toxic, inflammatory compounds that place an immense toxic burden on your liver. Your liver is already working overtime dealing with fructose and managing insulin resistance. Now it has to process these rancid, damaged fats as well. The occasional indulgence in food fried in a stable, traditional fat like lard, tallow, or coconut oil would not be a problem. But the chronic consumption of foods fried in these industrial seed oils is a direct assault on your liver's health. I hope this explanation of the role of insulin in starches makes sense. If this section has provided you with a new perspective, please type the number 1 in the comments. If you feel this part was confusing or unhelpful, please let me know by typing a Joe. Your honesty helps me serve you better. Part 3. The path to healing. Choosing nourishment over superfoods. So far, we've focused on what to avoid. This is, without a doubt, the most critical step. You cannot add a health food to undo the damage from a poison. Before we talk about what to eat, I want to address the pervasive and misleading concept of superfoods. We are bombarded with headlines about the latest miracle berry from the Amazon or an ancient seed that promises to reverse disease. This idea is a product of what I call the allopathic model of thinking, which we've been conditioned to accept by the pharmaceutical industry. This model says, you have a symptom, you take a remedy, and you get relief. It sounds simple, but it's a trap. The remedy rarely, if ever, fixes the underlying cause of the symptom. It just blocks the signal. The dysfunction continues, and the damage accumulates silently in the background. If a lake is being polluted by a factory upstream, you can't make the fish healthy by adding a scoop of super vitamins to the water. The fish will continue to get sick and die until you stop the source of the poison. Your body is no different. The holistic model, the one that actually creates health, focuses on removing the interference and providing the body with the raw materials it needs to heal itself. We handle the root cause. This is why our first and most important job is to stop pouring the toxins, alcohol, fructose, processed starches, and industrial seed oils into our system. Once we've done that, we can focus on providing the liver with the powerful nutrients it needs to rebuild and regenerate. So, what are these truly nourishing foods? Interestingly, the most powerful foods for liver health are the very ones we've been told to fear. At the top of my list, the number one food for reversing a fatty liver is eggs. For decades, eggs have been wrongly demonized because of their cholesterol and saturated fat content. This is a complete misunderstanding. Your body needs cholesterol for countless functions, and dietary cholesterol has very little impact on blood cholesterol for most people. Eggs are a nutritional powerhouse. They contain a vital nutrient called choline, which is a catalyst for fat metabolism. Choline helps move fat out of the liver, effectively helping to decongest it. Furthermore, eggs are rich in B vitamins, specifically B6, B9, and B12. These vitamins are crucial for converting a harmful inflammatory compound called homocysteine into methionine. Methionine is then used by the body to produce its most powerful homegrown antioxidant, glutathione. So, not only do eggs provide the building blocks for your body's master antioxidant, but they also provide the very nutrient needed to detoxify fat from the liver. Pastured eggs from hens raised on pasture are also a fantastic source of the essential omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, and DHA. My second recommendation is high-quality meat, particularly red meat from grass-fed animals. Just like eggs, meat is an incredibly nutrient-dense food. It is packed with high-quality bioavailable protein, which is essential for repairing tissues. It's also a rich source of methionine, further supporting glutathione production. Meat is also one of the most non-allergenic foods available, which is why so many people with autoimmune conditions and food sensitivities find they thrive on a meat-inclusive diet. The fat in meat is a stable combination of monounsaturated and saturated fats, which provides clean-burning energy without triggering an inflammatory response, especially when your insulin is low. Finally, we must include cruciferous vegetables and other supportive foods. Vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, and arugula contain unique plant compounds that actively support the liver's detoxification pathways. These should be a staple, and we should embrace healthy fats. We already discussed the dangers of processed polyunsaturated fats from vegetable oils, but other fats are essential. Monounsaturated fats from extra virgin olive oil and avocados are excellent, and the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are powerfully anti-inflammatory and directly address many of the root causes of metabolic syndrome. If you don't eat fish regularly, a high-quality fish oil supplement is a wise investment. Notice that flaxseed oil, often touted as a great source of omega-3s, is not on this list. While it contains an omega-3 called ALA, the body must convert it to the useful forms, EPA and DHA. This conversion process is very inefficient, especially in people who are already metabolically unhealthy, the very people who need it most. If this final section, focused on what to actively include in your diet, has been empowering for you, please let me know with a "guess one" in the comments. If you still have questions or feel it was not helpful, please enter a 0. Every piece of feedback helps. Conclusion: reclaiming your health, one meal at a time. As we draw our conversation to a close, I want you to feel a sense of hope and empowerment. Reversing a fatty liver and reclaiming your metabolic health is not about finding a magic pill or a superfood. It's about understanding how your body truly works and making consistent, intelligent choices. Let's briefly summarize the 5 most important takeaways from our discussion. Fructose is the primary driver. Excess fructose, from both added and natural sugars, is the main culprit in the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Your liver is forced to convert it directly into fat. Insulin is the gatekeeper. High levels of the hormone insulin, primarily driven by starches and sugars, prevent your liver from burning its stored fat, locking you in a cycle of metabolic dysfunction. The fat you fear isn't the problem. The stable saturated fat found in meat and eggs is not the enemy. The true villains are the unstable, highly processed, and inflammatory vegetable and seed oils used in most fried and packaged foods. Embrace nutrient-dense heroes. Foods like eggs and quality meat are among the most powerful tools for healing your liver, providing essential nutrients like choline and methionine that actively support fat metabolism and detoxification. Subtraction is more powerful than addition. Your first and most crucial step is to remove the offending agents, sugar, starches, and bad oils. You cannot out-supplement a damaging diet. Your health in your 60s, 70s, and beyond is not a matter of luck. It is a direct reflection of the daily choices you make. You have the power to change your trajectory at any age. It's never too late to give your liver the second chance it deserves. Start small. Remove one sugary drink from your day. Swap your morning toast for a couple of eggs. Every small step in the right direction is a victory. As a final thought, I want to leave you with a small piece of wisdom that has served my patients well over the years. The greatest gift you can give your family is a healthy you. Your vitality, your energy, and your presence are invaluable. Investing in your health is an act of love, not only for yourself, but for everyone who cherishes you. I genuinely hope this discussion has been a source of clarity and motivation for you. If you have any questions or want to share your own health journey, please leave a comment below. I read as many as I can. If you found this information valuable, please consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might benefit. And to ensure you don't miss out on future health discussions, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you for your time and your commitment to your health. Be well.